welcome. I'm Mary Catherine. I'm a teacher here at Tranquil Space, and I'm coming to you with the Asana of the month for March, Virgadrasana 3, or Warrior 3. This is a really fun pose. It's one of my favorites, and primarily because it seems really straightforward when you first kind of look at it, but then once you get into the pose, it actually involves almost every inch of the body, and everything has to be really active, and there's all sorts of alignment stuff going on. So it's a really interesting pose that has a lot of different facets to it. So there are a bunch of ways to come into this pose. You've probably seen it most often cued from Warrior 1, from a lunge, from Tadasana, and maybe sometimes you've seen teachers get really fancy and cue it from Eagle or from Tree Pose. But for kind of easiness sake here today, I'm gonna cue it from Warrior 1, and we'll play with taking it from there. So to come into the pose from Warrior 1, hips are squared forward, right? So just as they would be in your normal Warrior 1, and arms are reaching up, shoulder blades drawing down the back. So one thing that we really focus on in Warrior 3 is keeping those hips aligned. So they're basically gonna keep this same squaredness, except they're just gonna tilt so they're squared towards the floor. The traditional version of the pose is arms reaching up alongside the ears. Begin to bring the weight into the front leg. So in this case, the right leg. Toes spread wide, belly pulls in to engage the core, and then begin to shift forward. Weight comes into the front leg, back leg lifts. You want to flex those toes of the back foot, point them towards the floor. Arms are reaching forward, crown of the head reaches forward, and the gaze is at the floor. So the drishti straight down in order to keep the spine long. You can also work with the hands on the hips if reaching the arms forward puts too much pressure on the low back, or hands together at the heart. So great modifications if you find that reaching the arms forward is a little too much. We'll hold this shape, crown of the head reaching forward, foot reaching back, and really work to drop that left hip down even with the right. Whenever you want to come out, you'll slowly engage the core, drop back, root the back foot, arms reach back up. So that's the basic version of the pose. To work with the pose in different arm variations, again, to take it down a notch, hands to the hips or hands at the heart. To take it up a notch, you can work with reverse prayer, reverse namaste. You can work with hands interlaced behind the back. So a really great way to come into the pose, especially in a more crowded class, and a chance to make the pose into a heart opener. So you can also work with this variation. Other fun variations are eagle arms, right, working with the pose here, or even Gomukhasana arms, right? So lots of fun ways to pick up the arm variations in this pose and take it a little deeper or challenge yourself. The main things to watch out for, again, that lifted hip popping up. So you want to keep those hips squared. Also, really make sure your heart is lifted. So we often see a lot of collapsing through the chest in this pose. So heart is lifted, spine is long, hips are squared. So I hope you enjoy this month of this pose. It's a great time to challenge your balance and grow a little bit longer. Coming to you with the Asana month. Namaste.